Hey, board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another episode of Gumbo Live. It's episode number 71, Gumbo Live, the number one Facebook Live talk show dedicated to board gaming. My special guest tonight, Tom Wetzel from KOSMOS Games. We'll be talking about the big lineup from KOSMOS this year. Hey, Board Game Gumbo is a proud member of Punchboard Media. Check out some other 5 members like What's Eric Playing? Eric Yoko. He does a weekly review series for board games, tabletop games, board game apps with a well-deserved reputation for amazing, great photography. And he's been doing it since 2015. Punchboard Media, where we all bring something to the table. Hit us up on social media tonight at Board Game Gumbo on Twitter or on Facebook.com/BoardGameGumbo, and we'll be looking for your questions in the chat. But enough blather. Let's get right to the guest. Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is great.
Tom, you are from KOSMOS, but I don't know your exact title. I just can't remember since I haven't seen you since BGG Con. But I know one thing you do know. You get hit with the elevator pitch. So give us tonight the elevator pitch. Who is Tom Wetzel? What is KOSMOS Games?
It's a good question, good intro. First and foremost, I'm a board game enthusiast, just a big fan. I play board games all the time, and I'm always excited about the new ones coming out. Technically, my title with KOSMOS is marketing coordinator specific to board games. So that encompasses a lot, though, because we have a small team, so I end up doing a lot of the editing for manuals, playtesting for new games, and also taking those pitches when I go to the conventions, which I love doing. I wish I had more time to do that.
Hey, it's a live show, and Steve O'Rourke, who helps me with the show each week, he's the producer, and he does a lot of the games we do. He says, hello, BJ and Tom. Should be a great one tonight. KOSMOS is my jam. Listen, Tom, Steve and I text every day, and we're always talking about KOSMOS Games. He loves a lot of the KOSMOS Games. We know them as a European company, but you work in America, right?
Correct. I work in Providence, Rhode Island, actually. So that's where the U.S. arm is. Yeah.
Quick question. The first time I got to meet you was at BGG Con. I was doing some work for Envie, helping you guys out, teaching games. You do it even more than I do. I do 3 or 4 conventions a year. You do it all the time. What's your best, spiciest tip for the people out there who teach games? A lot of the viewers for Gumbo Live are people just like me and you.
Right. Spiciest tip. I would say the one that I like, the one that I find most useful that you wouldn't automatically assume is when you're teaching a game, before you even get started, give the other players the components, because they're going to want to touch them, right? And if you don't give them those components, they're going to be thinking about it while you're trying to describe the game. So if they first things first, grab a color and get your hands on those components, grab the dice, let them play with it, because if you don't do that, they're going to be thinking do I get to pick a color? Those are the things that are going through their head. So I don't know. To me, that's been pretty valuable. Yeah. I'm always looking for new and spicy comments, and that's one I haven't heard. Tactile feeling. People learn tactile, right? And if you're talking about some component and they're going, oh my God, what does that look like? Is that going to be something that's going to confuse me? Is that player aid going to be weird? Is how is this going to fit together? Right,
if you can assuage them of that, they can concentrate on the rules, right?
Exactly. And yeah, it's so important to get their attention, and also it kind of gives you a chance to kind of wrap your mind around what you're about to teach, right? Yeah,
I like it, and it gives you that visual demonstration. Hey, Verla is from the Gateway and Filler Games group on Facebook. She checks in usually every week, and there she is. She says, "Great tip, Tom. So you're on a roll so far."
Thanks.
Steve says, every night is game night. Had a great 2-part series on how to teach games. Having it set up for people to interact with bits right from the start was suggestion number 1 or number 2. Tom, you're a smart guy.
Oh, thanks.
Look at this. This is great.
Wow.
I like that. Hey, so I always like to talk about the best games we played recently. If you don't mind, I'm going to talk about one I played actually, and I think I have you beat. I played this game at 5:15 this morning.
Okay, you do have me beat.
All right. Let me show you a quick picture of it. It's called Catch the Moon. Have you heard of Catch the Moon?
I have, yes.
I actually played it. My buddy Ninja, one of the game reviewers from Alabama, he taught me the game at BGG Con when I wasn't working 12 hours a day or 18 hours a day for KOSMOS, because I gave the rest of my time to KOSMOS. No, but we did, you guys were awesome to us. You gave us plenty of time to see the con. And so Jeremy teaches me this game, Ninja does. And I like dexterity games. This one was a little different looking, and that's what led me to it. When I went to my game store this morning, we were doing a big show off for the Southern Board Game Fest that's coming up. We did a live remote from our local TV station.
Uh-oh. I've lost you.
Tom.
There we go.
Oh, sorry. Well, must have had a server burp there. Sorry about that. I apologize. Everything seems to be working on my end. If it happens, it's a live show. Just keep going, Tom.
Cool. All right.
I was telling you, thank you for sending us games for the con. We did a live remote this morning on our TV station at the game store, and they were looking for visual games to use, and one of the games that I thought of was Catch the Moon, which they just happened to get in stock today. So you're familiar with it, but you haven't played it yet?
Correct. Yeah, I've been attracted to it since I first saw it. I really want to play it. I haven't got my hands on it yet. So,
how are you with dexterity games? Where is that on your scale?
What, dexterity?
Yeah. Do you like dexterity games?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love dexterity games. So.
What's cool about this one is I was telling the lady, by the way, the lady that was doing the live remote had never played any board game other than Monopoly and Sorry. Nothing.
Oh.
So I said, hey, look, let me show you a game. She said, is this going to be complicated? I said, I'm going to teach it to you in 30 seconds. And I think I beat that. I think it was only 20 seconds because there's only 2 or 3 rules, right? You show them the dice, you show them where the ladders go, and you tell them if it falls, you take a tier.
That's great.
All right. We showed it, Catch the Moon. It's one that Eric Yerko has been talking about. A lot of other people have been talking about. There's Luke Feder talking about it right there. He says, Steve and I had a lot of fun with Catch the Moon at PAX Unplugged. What makes a great dexterity game, Tom?
Ooh, I think it's, in my opinion, one that everyone feels like they're involved. Everyone feels like they have a chance to win. And, I mean, yeah, pretty much that's it. I mean, that's the one nice thing about dexterity games, unlike games like trivia or strategy. It's got a lower entry level, so you can play with a wide variety of people. So hopefully a good dexterity game does just that, gets everyone involved.
And we're going to be talking about a great dexterity game from KOSMOS in a little while. But I want to get back to your earlier tip. Kevin says, don't fiddle around with the bits with chocolate Catan unless you're sure they've washed their hands. Good point, Kevin. Good point. So that is Catch the Moon. It's a game from Bombix. So easy to teach. Doesn't take that long. And it really looks great on the table. Looks great on the table.
It absolutely does. Yeah, looks great.
All right, so I do want to talk about one that you and I got to play a lot, but I hear you've got some new things cooking with it. And that game, BJ from Board Game Gumbo, I've got my guest here, Tom from KOSMOS, and we're talking about Lost Cities. And this game is one of the first games I ever played as a board gamer, but it seems to have a life of its own, and it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah. So I can see the image you're showing there is actually Lost Cities Rivals, which we played, and I love that game because I love bidding games, I love auction games, and I think that this one boils that mechanic down into a very simple mechanic. Like just you're basically interacting with other people. That's what I love about that. But the news for Lost Cities as a franchise is that it's getting a makeover. That game came out in the 90s, which is ancient, right?
Right.
And a lot of that artwork hasn't been updated, so we're finally updating it. It's going to be vibrant new colors, similar. So Lost Cities Rivals, that's going to be kind of a similar color palette, but maybe the card game's a little bit brighter. Cards are bigger, and they're going to be colorblind friendly, just like the Rivals. Okay. And we're adding, with the new Lost Cities, the card game that's coming out, we're adding a double-sided player board, which allows you to play either the original with 5, or you can play up to 6 color cards. So.
Yeah, I remember that there was, it's either white or gray, I can't remember the color, but there was that special 6th expedition that you guys would sell at conventions, right?
Yeah.
But you had to place it to the side of the board. Mm-hmm. With this new board, if you flip it over, you can play all 6 expeditions?
Yep, absolutely. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Steve says Lost Cities is just brilliant, but he's been nervous about adding the bidding to it with Rivals, but it doesn't sound like it's overwhelming. No, you and I taught that game very easily to lots of different levels, right?
Yeah. So I think it's a fair comparison when people think that it's a little bit like Raw, because Reiner Knizia also developed design.
Sure.
And so the mechanics in that are similar, but I feel like Lost Cities Rivals is even easier because you don't have that tableau that you're trying to keep track of, like sets and runs and matches and things like that. It's great because in Lost Cities Rivals you only have to worry about runs. Like you want the runs of cards. That's it. Very easy tableau to build. So I highly suggest it if anyone's like thinking, I don't know, like, am I really going to like an auction game? I think this is the perfect one to try because it is, like I said, really streamlined auction game.
Yeah, it's got the auction feel. It definitely has player interaction, but it's not overwhelming. It's not too mathy. It's one of I agree with you. It's a great gateway auction game. And when Knizia makes this is what I remember. I remember what I said about it a couple of months ago. When Knizia makes a great game, it's really great.
Yeah.
Not all of his games are great, but when he makes one that's great, it's to the top. Well, I haven't liked every Knizia game. Maybe you have.
He has no. I mean, if you look on BGG, he's got I think over 1,000 credits games to his name. So no, I haven't played all of them, but I like most of them. I would say the majority that I try, I like.
Yeah, Blue Lagoon was one that just kind of left me a little cold.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't as big a fan as other people. I don't know if you like Blue Lagoon, and hopefully you're not related to it. So I'm messing with your family or something like that. But.
No, I actually didn't get to play that one. I had it in my hand at PAX Unplugged, and then I gave it to a friend. So I didn't get to play it yet, but that friend has it. So just a matter of time.
And I haven't played the original Through the Desert. I don't know if you've played that one.
Yeah, I haven't played that one either. I know.
Okay. We've got a few Knizia games to get through, Tom.
But I've played so many.
Yeah, there are so many. BJ from Board Game Gumbo here. I've got my guest Tom Wetzel of KOSMOS, and we're talking about spicy games that he and I played. I've got one for you. I'm not sure if you are a Bruno Cathala fan. I'm a big Cathala fan, and this is one that I've been enjoying. It's called Scarabya or Scarabya. I'm not sure exactly how Bruno pronounces it.
Yeah. I can't pronounce it either, but I think of Scarab. When I see the title, it always because it looks like Scarab, and then there's more letters. So.
Scarab, yeah, those sounds just I don't know. It just doesn't fit. So I say Scarabya. Or Scarabya. So Scarabya, have you got a chance to play it yet?
I haven't played that one either yet. You're making me feel like I don't play games.
No. It's just the couple here that I've gotten a chance to play recently. So when I checked out at my game store, I always keep an eye out when Bruno has a new game out. Bruno Feduti, Bruno Cathala. That's two guys that I always check out when they have a new game. And what I do like, my wife and I, we love Thailand games. If I had to put games at the top of the list of what she and I together are going to want to play, it's probably a Thailand game. New York 1901, we've probably played, I don't know, 20, 25 times together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just one of our we even have the big, tall buildings. Have you played New York 1901?
Oh, I have played that, and I'm jealous. I just have the cards, which the components are really nice on that, but I really wish I had the bigger minis.
Yeah, there's minis that a guy makes out on eBay for the legendary buildings. It would be a big deal to get minis for all of the buildings, but I just have the legendary buildings.
Yeah.
So we really like tile laying, and we like all the Uwe games, the little Uwe tile laying games, Patchwork, Indian Summer, all those games. Yeah. So when I looked at Scarabya, I'm like, wow, 15 minutes. It's going to have all these, this tile laying mechanic, and we have had just an absolute blast. I've got a picture of it up here. It really does play that quickly. In fact, when I played it this weekend with my buddy, we just knocked out 2 or 3 games back to back to back. And that's what I really like when you can find a tile laying game that's super easy to teach.
Yeah.
The only quirk in this game is the weird scoring mechanic. Whenever you're putting your tiles around all those scarabs, you only score if the enclosed part of around the scarabs is 4 spaces or less. And that was kind of tricky to read in the language. I needed a Tom Wetzel to rewrite the rule book and make it a little clearer, right?
I'm still confused by that. That's what you're saying.
All right, so you see the scarabs, right? That's all the little orange things all over the board.
Yeah.
Okay. As you put down the polynomials, and all of them are what are they called? I don't know what 5 nomials are, but they're 5 pieces. So they all have 5 pieces, every one of them. When you put them on there, once you get them connected, in other words, around any one of those scarabs as you're putting them down, and the scarab is totally enclosed orthogonally by the tiles, you score for the number of scarabs in the enclosure times the number of spaces in the enclosure, but it can't be more than 4.
Oh, okay.
So picture a square with a scarab right here. That would be worth 4 points.
Right.
But if it's 5 spaces and 2 scarabs, it's worth 0 because your enclosure was too big. Now, the confusing thing also was, number one, that scoring mechanic, and number 2, what about diagonal? Does that count? And it's not really.
Huh. Oh, I lost the audio again.
Tom.
There we go.
Hey, sorry about that. I'm not sure what's happening there.
No,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, good. What I was saying is there's a cool site you need to check out if you ever get a chance. It's called BoardGameGeek.com.
I don't know.
Anyway, so I went straight to the BGG forums, and I found that that Bruno had already addressed this. He put in there, diagonals. You don't have to enclose everything. It's just orthogonal. So 15 minutes, easy to score, random setups every time, perfect tile laying game experience. What do you think?
I'll have to try it. I see it every once in a while, so I'll definitely check it out.
Verla says New York 1901 is still on her shelf of opportunity. We don't use shelf of shame here. We say shelf of opportunity.
That's great. I love it.
You've played it, right?
I've played it many times, actually. Yeah. I like it. I think it's a really good game. So, yeah.
Steve Ulrich says he wants to play Scarabya 2 Tetris tiles. It's true, but they're all 5 pieces, though, unlike Tetris or Blockus or anything like that. Try and encircle scarabs on your own board. Theme sounds a bit pasted on. Pentamenos is what it's called. Pentamenos.
That's right. Because
it's 5. Steve, absolutely. There is no theme to this thing at all. It's the different player boards are dressed up as winter, like ice or jungles or desert or different things. There's no theme. It's just a math puzzly tile laying game. But that's okay. I like those.
Me too. I mean, we were just talking about Reiner Knizia, right?
We were. Reiner Knizia. Yeah. I hear, and I don't know if it's true. You could verify it for me. But from what I hear, he doesn't have anything to do with the theme. I read an article, a blog post with him, an interview, and in that interview, he specifically said, "I don't design with theme at all. I design strictly the mechanics. I turn it over to the publisher, and the publisher overlays a theme to it."
Interesting. That's possible, but I doubt that, because I know that. For instance, like Keltis and Lost Cities, was a big deal, right?
Right.
Cities came out originally, and then Keltis came out using the same mechanics, and then when it was brought back over to the States, he switched it back over to Lost Cities. I feel like he's at least aware of theme. I think he knows that that's important. I can't imagine that he just hands it off entirely, but
I got to find out if. Okay, so we know he did the Lord of the Ring game, and I can't think of it. Is it a Hunt for the Ring? What is it? War of the Ring? War of the Ring, right?
Pretty sure.
It's one of those. And that one is the one that's always made me curious. Did he start with theme or just we've got Kevin with another one. Orthogonally is the study of birds, right? No, it's not. It's not the study. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing the word right. Orthogonally. Maybe I was pronouncing it wrong. All right, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here. I've got my guest Tom Wetzel from KOSMOS. We were talking about dexterity games, and KOSMOS has a really cool one that I've introduced all over the place.
Yeah.
Drop it. How many times did you and I teach that game at VGG Con?
We remember when we tried to figure out how many times that one demo copy got played? It was probably, and we were being, I think, pretty conservative on this, 50 times a day.
Oh yeah.
Days. The thing got played got hundreds of plays on it. It was incredible.
It's so simple to teach. It's so colorful. In fact, I told you this story already, Tom, but I'm going to repeat it for the viewers. When I first encountered it at a con in Mobile, when I was asked to teach it, I'm like, This game, really? I mean, does anybody need to learn how to play this game? It doesn't even look that interesting. And I played it the first time, I read the rules, taught it to a family, and I ended up playing it like 12 times a day. It's addicting. You think you have control over the pieces, and
Yes.
I'm not so sure you really do, but your mind tells you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've thought about this game a little bit. And
Hit
I've
me.
taught it so many times. I've seen people interact with this game so many times that I've come up with one very specific theory about why this game is so great. And I'm not sure if this was intentional with the design, but I'll give the designers credit. They probably did. The thickness in between the boards is important. But what I'm getting at is when you drop a piece at first, it's falling full 12 inches until it hits the bottom.
Right.
And it's going to bounce around a little bit. So when the game begins, you have very little control over where your tile or your piece ends up landing because it's going to bounce. By the end of the game, your pieces only drop an inch or two. And so you have a lot of control. So by the end of the game, people are constantly thinking to themselves, oh, I figured it out. Like, I got it. And then they're like, all right, let's play it again. I've got it this time. They'll dump the pieces out, and they'll start playing and like, oh, wait. Oh, I lost it. They thought that they had something, and then they lost it. But I love that. I see it happen all the time, and it's great.
We're talking about Drop It, and Drop It is basically a quick game for 2 to 4 players where you're trying to drop the pieces, and it's got that reverse, the usual rule in a dexterity game where you don't want the colors to match, and you don't want the shapes to match if you want to score points. And I like the fact that you're saying the agency in the game, what looks like a simple game, has as it ratchets up during the game and then resets itself every time. Yeah. I also find that people, after they run through the first third of it, the back third of the game, or maybe the back half of the game, people start to get cognizant of the pieces, and they go, "Oh, well, I shouldn't have played X piece." And I'll tell you, Tom, I've heard it from so many different people. They'll say, "I shouldn't have played my square first," or "I should have started with a circle first and then waited on my big ones," or "I shouldn't have played the kind of pieces they were playing at the same time." So I don't know if anybody's got a set strategy. This game is definitely not broken as far as I can tell. But have you also heard that though with the different pieces where people want to play it again because they think to themselves, "Oh, there's strategy behind the pieces that I use."
Yep, it's definitely one of those light bulbs that goes off in people's brains when they've played it once. They're like, there is a strategy to this. Not only do the pieces that I choose matter because of where I want them to land, but also I want to look at what other people have and what they want to use, so I can try and block them. And so there's actual strategy here. I consistently lose, which is a good sign for a game that has.
Verla says, "Drop It is a winner. It's so accessible to all ages, gamers and non-gamers alike." When the pictures that I'm showing you are a big family reunion I went to in Tennessee right after BGG Con. And if I showed you all of the pictures, you'd see my mom, who's an undisclosed age but older than me, thank God, all the way down to little tiny kids playing this game. Look, there they are, little tiny. It was amazing that I scaled the rules of the game depending on the age, but it was amazing that this is a game that you could be in your 60s or 50s or 40s or 30s or even down to your 10s, and you're still playing as hard as you want to have fun, right?
It's great. And actually, the rules that you may have come up with are included in the second printing that we just released.
Oh, really? What's that?
Because we realized that to bring the age range down a little bit, we eliminated, just in the rules, eliminated the color matching on the sides, right?
Ah, okay. So as an optional variant?
Yeah. So it only matters if you match colors in the drop zone. It makes it a little easier for the younger age, I think.
And I don't remember the name. You would probably you probably know it. We always called the boo-boo pieces. That's the little things with the smiley face on it.
Oh, the jokers. Yeah.
Okay, we call them boo-boos because we give them to the little young kids, and when they make a mistake, they can say, "Uncle Barry, I made a boo-boo. Can I still score the points?" And we go, "Yeah, sure, but you got to give me your boo-boo piece."
I really like that. Maybe that'll be in the third printing.
That is not going to be in the printing. the BJ boo-boo piece. Hey, Steve has a good question. do people drop their pieces like they throw dice? An illusion of control, superstitions about play. I've seen that, Tom. People are like putting it on the edge, and they think the way I hold it or the way I bounce it off the sides is going to make a difference whenever it lands.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. I haven't seen anyone use like any super bizarre techniques. I would like to see that though.
Have you seen anybody flip it up in the air and try to land it in the screen?
No. I
Yeah.
have seen a lot of people miss the drop zone entirely though, because
Really?
they're concentrated on where they're concentrated on where it's gonna, like land, that they completely miss the center of the game board, which is
Oh
crazy.
my God.
It happens all the time.
I have not seen that happen. Wow. All right. So, BJ from Board Game Gumbo, I've got my guest here, Tom Wetzel from KOSMOS, and we're talking about a lot of the games that he and I played at BGG Con. But also, I hear you've got some new news about a very favorite Phil Walker Harding game, Emotep. Is some big news coming out? Is that what I hear?
It's very big news, and I'm so excited about it. We're releasing, hopefully just before Gen Con, we're releasing Emotep the Duel. Now, you can play Emotep the base game with 2 people, but Emotep the Duel is designed specifically for 2 people, and it's going to give you some of the... I've played it a bunch now because I demoed it. I demoed the German copy that was released a while ago. It gives you the similar satisfaction of building these ancient Egyptian monuments, but the way you acquire pieces is so different. I'm going to say it's not quite as cutthroat, but it's a little bit of it's a really slick mechanic. It's a 3x3 grid, and you're trying to outsmart your opponent, but it plays super fast. My elevator pitch would be that it's similar in weight to Lost Cities, the card game.
Okay.
You can beat this game in under 5 minutes. You can play a full game in under 20 minutes easy, but it has a lot of those similar I did it. Like when you get a long card run in Lost Cities, the card game, in Emotep Duel, when you get all of the pyramid pieces, which is something you can do, you feel like you did it. Like it's really satisfying. So people should keep that on their radar. It's really exciting.
Kevin wants to know if there's a Brendan Fraser expansion. Any truth to that rumor?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
That's the right answer. That is always all right. Hey, we were just talking about him before the show, you and I. Johnny Pack showed up. Tom showed me Duel at Gamma. Looks so good. Has some new twists. It's a must-have.
Yeah. Hey, John. Yeah, we're really excited about it.
I like that. So I've got a picture right now up of I've got a picture of the new Dynasty expansion. Mm-hmm. So as you remember, you've got the boats, you've got all the blocks, and then you've got the 4 boards. And now with the new expansion, what is that? 4, 8, 16 different boards you can basically play with, right? Something like that, maybe.
So there's 5 site boards, double-sided, so that's 20 different locations.
20. But in Emotep the Duel, is it going to have that kind of visual flavor, or does it look differently from there?
It's different. It's a different game. Like I said, it's going to give you a lot of the same feel, but it's a totally different game.
Okay, like Lost Cities is to Lost Cities Rivals, is what you were saying.
As far as difference in mechanics, yes, yeah,
okay.
They're different but similar enough. They belong in the same family.
The first thing that I thought of when I heard the word duels is something Kevin mentions right here. I've been playing nothing but Seven Wonders Duel. Very interested in checking this out. Love my one Emotep play. I was thinking, Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel are not the same game at all.
Yep.
Yet they have that flavor that kind of feels like you're playing Seven Wonders, but just 2 people.
I would say that's also a good comparison. The 2 games are kind of they belong in the same family, right? Like Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel. The mechanics end up being considerably different just because of the way you play with 2 people. But yeah, same thing with Emotep Duel.
When I started listening to board game media so many years ago, Steve's point was exactly right. KOSMOS gets 2-player games. If there's a publisher to trust for head-to-head play, it's them. They're known for that KOSMOS 2-player line. Battle Lines being a big favorite, Lost Cities being a big favorite.
Yep.
What is it about KOSMOS that they're able to find these 2-player games?
Well, we've just been doing it for a really long time. And very early on, Cosmos just kind of knew that two-player games were popular, so they've been seeking them out for a really long time. Games like Targi that we just republished 2 years or last year actually, super popular, super great game. I mean, they just have a whole. It's almost too many. Like I have my collection, which takes up, a good part of my life.
Sure.
But it's still not all of them. I couldn't tell you how many there are in the actual two-player line.
BJ, from where you can go, I've got my guest here, Tom Wetzel of KOSMOS Games, and you mentioned a game just now that I got to bring out because it doesn't seem to stay in print. It seems like it sells out as soon as anywhere in the world a publisher publishes it, and that's Andy's game, Targi.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about Targi? Are we seeing it come back in print? Are there any changes to it? We keep hearing all these rumors. What's going on?
Well, officially, as of right now, it is back in print.
Okay.
We've got it in stores, and we've put in a big enough order that we should have it through the year. It shouldn't be a problem there. That being said, I know I've seen it go out of print before. Don't wait. It's such a good game.
It is. It is a great game. I don't actually own it, but 2 or 3 of my friends have it, and it's one of the games that we like to pull out. But Steve had a question. When will the English version of the expansion come out? Any news on that?
That's a really good question. So I don't have a specific day in the calendar,
Give us a scoop.
it is in the queue, right?
Okay.
Like something that we have on our radar and we want to do, but we haven't got an official date yet.
What do you think? You've taught that game, you've demoed that game, you've played the game, you own the game. What is it about Targi that it seems to be just an evergreen that people just keep wanting to play?
It's one that I've obviously thought a lot about, and to be honest, I think it's because it incorporates a lot of mechanics, but in just almost like little flavors of each of those. Like it's got a flavor of worker placement, a flavor of set collection, a flavor of engine building, and because it's just a little bit of each of those, it's so clean. Like teaching it, okay, so this one maybe it'll take a little bit more than 5 minutes because of separate mechanics that are working at the same time, but they work together so seamlessly that once you get playing, it almost feels intuitive. It's really just a really fun game.
It's got more player interaction, though, than is typical of some. Well, I was going to say some Cosmos. Emotep's got a lot of player interaction.
Yeah.
But Targi, surprisingly, when I teach the game to people or when I played it with other people, it's not apparent whenever you're learning the game that there's going to be that much direct player interaction. But holy cow, it can be really mean, Tom.
It can. And actually, what that player interaction where you're cutting off your opponent by taking a position on the grid, that's a similar mechanic to Imhotep Duel. That it has a 3x2 that you're cutting out the other player by where you put your worker. That's where the mechanics, that's where the similarities kind of end, though. Other than that, they're not the same game. But
Bertla's listening. She says she's been thinking of topping off an order, but she hadn't played it yet. Keep telling her why she should. What's the big selling point if you had to sell somebody on Targi?
You just got to play it. I mean, someone in your group has got to have a copy. If they don't, you'll be doing everyone in your gaming group a favor by getting a copy, because once you play it, it's just so much fun. It's got a little more meat to it than some of the other 2-player games in the line. I'd say it has a little more meat than Imhotep Duel or Lost Cities or any of the other ones we've talked about.
It does.
Yeah. And you can definitely feel like you can get a really good strategy in this game, but it has multiple paths to victory. You don't just win with one strategy. So, right when you think you've figured it out, your opponent can beat you using a different strategy, which is also fun.
Shout out to my buddy Matthew Ward from the Dukes of Dice. He taught it to me in New Orleans 2 years ago this spring. And man, I keep saying I need to pick it up. I got to pick it up because we don't have it in our group and we need to start playing it. That is Targi from Cosmos. Hey, Tom, the Exit series. You guys are still supporting it. There's tons and tons. We sold a lot of them at BGG Con.
Yes, we
did.
But
now I'm seeing another game that you guys are talking about. I'm not sure if how does the adventure game series stack up with the exit series. I don't know enough about the two series. What's the differences? What's the pitch? Why would I play the adventure game series?
Well, that's great. Thank you for bringing that up. Adventure games are in the same family. We're essentially trying to use the great momentum that we've created with the exit games to branch off into adventure games. And adventure games are a little bit closer to old adventure game video games, or even choose your own adventure stories. They're story driven, and what you do matters, right? It affects how the game plays. But the really cool thing about the adventure games that I like, although I will say I haven't actually played it yet because we haven't received final documents, but I've read through the instructions. Each one of you, you're playing cooperatively with up to 4 people. Each one of you are going to interact with the game independently but cooperatively.
Oh,
so let's say like we've infiltrated the evil corporation in town, right? And we're trying to figure out what's really going on behind the scenes. Like you can say, I'm going to go to the surveillance room. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to go there. You can do that, and you're still interacting with the same storyline that I am as if I'm going to the cafeteria because I feel like I got a hunch,
I,
Oh, I think I lost you again.
Tom.
There we go.
Okay, I was saying that without giving any spoilers away. I don't remember that happening in the exit games, except there was once or twice where the game kind of separated us to do stuff. I don't want to go into any more details other than that. But is that kind of what you're talking about, where you're playing separately, or do you think it's going to be a mechanic where you're still playing together but
You're
in
all
different
still
branches?
Yeah, you're all still playing together. The biggest difference is the adventure games are more story driven, whereas the exit games are more riddle driven. So the adventure games are still going to have some puzzly feel to them.
Okay.
I don't want to compare truthfully because I haven't played it yet, but it feels like it's going to be a little bit like Time Stories and Exit, kind of. Maybe, yeah. That's the impression I get.
So the two that I've seen so far are Monochrome and The Dungeon, right?
Yeah.
And the designers, you got some guys with pedigrees here.
Yeah, Phil Walker Harding again, he's great, and then Matthew Dunstan. So
Matthew Dunstan, Elysium. He did Scorpius Freighter. I don't know if you played Scorpius Freighter. It's a pick up and deliver game without having to pick up or deliver, which is a cool twist. But yeah, Matthew Dunstan, one of my favorite designers, and Phil Walker Harding, who knocks it out of the park. That's some big names there. How many players does this play? Does it have a play count? Do you know?
1 to 4, I believe, is the count. Yeah.
And the time, it looks like it's longer than the Exit series.
It's longer and it's replayable. Each one of them is going to come with 3 chapters that are about 75 minutes each.
Oh.
You don't destroy any of the components, so you can replay it or give it to someone else, whatever you'd like to do with it. Yeah. The price is a little bit higher. Exit games are $14.95 MSRP. Adventure games are $19.95. So for $5, you get considerably more playtime.
What are we talking about when they're coming out? What's the timeline?
Those are at October for 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like the. I saw a little bit about the two that I could find, and the one that says it's almost like the old PC adventure games. So I'm thinking of the Mists and all these different explore the dungeons, even graphical versions of any of the old Infocom games that I grew up on. Is that sort of that vibe that we're going in?
That's the inspiration. Yeah. We'll see how well it does. It's getting great reviews from the German playtesters, so I'm excited to try it once we get our copy.
And you should be getting it sometime, I guess, this summer to take a look.
Actually, I just had a meeting today. They're going to give us copies, rough copies of the game, hopefully within a week or two. So I'll have a little bit better understanding then. I've read the rules now, and it sounds really cool.
Steve says a new brand without the brands.
Yeah.
We can always count on the name Father. Nice, Steve. Nice, Steve. And that is the adventure game series coming out this fall from Cosmos.
Yeah. Super exciting. Yeah.
Blatant pitch here, blatant plug here. Any reviewers, just let us know. We love those kind of games here. In fact, we've got one coming in, a little puzzle game. I can't think of the name of it. Dr. Erskine. It just came out, and it's a cool little book of puzzles that are integrated, and all total it takes. Oh, what's the name of it? Something's notebook. Dr. Something's notebook.
That sounds familiar.
Should be in this next week, and we'll be having a review of it in a week or two. So take a look. BJ from Board Game Gumbo here. I've got my guest Tom Wetzel of Cosmos Games, and we're talking about all the big games coming out from Cosmos. And I was kind of scrolling through trying to see some of the games that are coming out, and you're promising something, Tom. You're promising something. I want to see if you can deliver a Civilization game in 45 minutes.
That got almost the most attention at Gamma for that exact reason. People are really excited about it, and they should be, because I've played it, and it is incredible.
All right, we're talking about Tribes, right? Coming out from Cosmos. Give us the scoop. Can you really do a Civilization game in 45 minutes?
Well, yeah. I mean, so first things first. This is designed by a renowned civ building designer. I can't pronounce his name. Rustan. Have a hard time with his last name, so I won't butcher it. So he designed Nations, which is
Rustan Hawkinson.
I think you got it.
Maybe. It's worth a try.
So he designed Nations, which is a fantastic civ building game, but it takes a long time. Oh, Dr. Esker's Notebook, is that the one you're thinking of?
That's the one we're going to be doing, the little puzzle thing. So
Tribes Dawn of Humanity plays in 45 minutes, and it gives you a lot of those great feelings of a civ building game where you've got a tech tree, you've got exploration, you've got travel, all of these like really cool elements, but it happens so quick because everything's been streamlined. You don't have as many choices, but I feel like the payoff is really good.
So what's the tech tree like though? Is it how fast are you rolling through if you're going to get it done in 45 minutes?
So it's broken up into 4 different categories.
Okay.
And you have essentially you can build your potential to explore more, to travel more, to reproduce more, or have more strength. And each one of those, as you build it, will in turn help you progress even more within that tech or in subsequent techs. And then in building those, it helps you acquire more resources and more points for the end of the game.
A game like that, if it's going to finish in 45 minutes and still deliver, it's going to have quick turns, quick decisions without getting too bogged down. Is Tribes going to deliver on that?
Yeah, and the way they do that is it's a similar mechanic to one of my favorite games, 8 Minute Empire.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Ryan Lockett.
Ryan Lockett.
It has the options that you can choose from are laid out in front of you. The first one's free. The second one costs 1. Third one costs 2. Fourth one costs 3. So it really limits your options for actions on your turn, which is great because that's where a lot of the AP and that's where a lot of decisions kind of get bogged down.
Right.
When you can do anything on your turn. Well, you can, but it's going to cost you, and that makes you kind of think quickly about what you really need to do and what you can get away with doing.
How many players were you expecting it to play?
2 to 4.
2 to 4. Okay.
It's got great components. It looks really cool. A lot of wood, chunky bits.
Ooh, so nice table presence. Is it a table hog like most Civilization games are?
No, not a table hog. No, I'd say it's a pretty average sized board game.
All right. So, and that is Tribes from designer Rustan Hawkinson. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Coming out from Cosmos. And I forgot, when is it coming out? This summer or something like that?
It's on time. So late July, early August.
Oh, okay. Right in time for Gen Con, though.
Yeah.
And that's a 45-minute Civilization game. We're going to hold you to that.
I can play it in 45 minutes.
BJ from Board Game Gumbo. I've got my guest here, Tom Wetzel from Cosmos Games. The last game I want to talk to you about. I love dice. I know. Well, I don't know. Do you like dice games?
I love dice games. And
I love chucking dice.
Yeah.
You've got a game coming out called Roll for Adventure. I don't really know anything about it. I couldn't find a lot about it. Give us the elevator pitch. Why would somebody want to check out Roll for Adventure this summer?
I really wish I had images, because I have a few images of these games. I wish I had them to post them up. But so Roll for Adventure, Matthew Dunstan again. He co-designed it
with Brett Gilbert. Brett Gilbert is his big co-designer from Elysium.
Yes. Sorry, it is him. Okay, so in Roll for Adventure, it actually plays in about, I can't remember what the box says, but I've played it a bunch of times now. So 30 minutes is like a quick game. 45 minutes is about as long as I've played.
Okay.
But what you're doing is you're just rolling dice cooperatively. So it's a cooperative dice chucking, killing monsters, saving the four realms kind of game.
Ooh, okay.
Basically, on your turn, one thing that's really cool about this is I know that in a lot of like dice chucking games, like you roll your dice and then you can only put all of the like pips out, right? Like, so I only put the ones out or the twos out. Well, you do that, but in this game, you just keep rolling until you've used all your dice. That's your turn, is using all of your dice every single time. So you feel like you can actually do something on your turn. You don't feel too constrained. And I really like that. And there's a lot of like mechanics in this game that are nice, that make you feel like you're manipulating just a little bit of the board so that you're taking advantage of certain areas and then killing monsters in other areas. It's a really cool game. And we demoed this at Gamma as well, and just had people giving each other high fives and having a great time. It's a really good, almost party game. That
kind of leads to my next question. Where do you classify it? Is it family weight, or is it a little deeper than that? Party weight? What are we talking about?
I would say, strictly speaking, it's probably a family co-op strategy game, but it's right, like I said, teeters on the line of a party game, because it's, once you get the hang of the rules, you don't think much at all. It's all about just like chucking dice and killing monsters. It's really cool.
Steve wants to know, is it more deliberate play, like an Elder Sign, where you play, use the dice, attack this, try to save this, or is it real time like Infuse, where you're just constantly rolling?
It's more deliberate. Yeah, it's not timed.
Okay.
Yeah. The turns do go pretty quick though.
And that is Roll for Adventure? Is that right?
Yeah. How is that name not already taken? Right. Roll for Adventure.
You would think.
Right.
Roll for Adventure, coming out from Cosmos. When is that coming out? Before Gen Con, you said?
Yep, same time period as, so Imhotep Duel, Tribes, Dawn of Humanity, and Roll for Adventure are all coming out just before Gen Con.
Coming out from Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert, the guys from Elysium. And you said playtime right in that 30, 40-minute range, but lots of activity, lots of cheering. People are going to get into the spirit of this game.
Yeah.
All right, that's Roll for Adventure. BJ from Board Game Gumbo. I've got my guest here, Tom Wetzel. Tom, it's a board game show. You know what that means?
I don't know what that means.
We got to play a game.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, so the game we like to play, we got a bunch of different games, but the game we're going to play tonight is called the Envie game. I don't remember. Is Wetzel a Cajun name? I don't think so.
I think it is, yeah.
Okay, so you're Cajun tonight. So Envie is a Cajun word. It's a hankering or a jonesing, maybe you'd say, or, when you really want something, you have the envie for it, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe I wanted some boudin for this morning or some brownies or something. I had the envie for it. But in this case, we want to know a game out there that you've got the envie to play. It could be a game you own right now, maybe a game you've never owned. But what game, if we stopped the show right now and you had the perfect partners, you would play it right now?
All right.
But don't tell us what it is. One of our guests spilled the beans right away, and he's like, "Oh, the game is this." I was like, "No, we're supposed to guess." So anyway, So it's sort of like 20 questions, but that game is copyrighted, so we're not doing 20 questions. We're gonna ask you roughly, approximately 20 questions. Okay, not exactly. And the chat crew is gonna be firing questions away. Theirs don't count against me, But I'll stop whenever, if we can't get it within the 20 questions. But
Sure.
And the questions are not yes or no. Some of them are kind of narrowing it down because we're trying to get rid of 120,000 games on BGG when I last checked. So first question I have, you understand the rules?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Here's the first question. Is it a competitive or a cooperative game? And based on what I know about you, I'm going to guess it's competitive.
It is competitive.
All right. So competitive game. Is it an American designer or a European designer? And I'm going to guess it's a European designer.
Ooh, you would think that, but no, actually, in this case, it's an American designer.
Really?
Yeah.
Now you threw me there because you and I had lots of late night talks, and all we ever talked about was European designers, it seemed like.
Yeah.
All right, chat crew. Hey, there's Chuck Yeager. Chuck is the guy who runs that Gateway and Filler Games group I told you about on Facebook. You ought to check that group out. This is, we talk about Cosmos games all the time in that group, so you would fit in right in with that. So, all right, chat crew. Just to remind you, we're playing the Envie game. It's a competitive game, and it's an American designer. Hey, Marshall wants to know, is it a two-player game? Boy, Cosmos is famous for those.
Ooh, no, it's not.
Not a two-player game. All right. Steve says a new game within the last 4 to 5 years?
Nope.
It's an older game. Okay. It's an older game, not within the last 4 or 5 years. All right. So I'll get to one of my questions. Is it board-based, or would you say it's card-based, or kind of a hybrid between the two? What's the focus of the game?
The focus of the game is board.
Board?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you cut out there for a second. So board.
Yep.
Board focused. Is it an Ameritrash type game, or a Euro style game, or like Blood Rage, or Scythe, kind of a hybrid between the two?
It actually goes against my typical game preference, but this is more of Ameritrash, but it's not strictly Ameritrash.
I don't even know who I have on the show anymore.
I know.
It's an Ameritrash game, older than 5 years. Wow. Okay. All right. Man, I am discombobulated, Steve.
Only kind of Ameritrash. I don't want to commit to that like 100%, but once you know the game, I think you'll understand why.
All right, to recap, we got a competitive game. It's an American designer, board-based, and Ameritrash, kind of. But we'll understand when we figure out the game. Steve wants to know, are there dice in the game?
Yes.
I feel like that's a really good clue, the way you said that, Tom. It's a dice chucking game older than 5 years. Would you say it's, let's see, wait. Does it have any minis in the game?
Yes.
Oh, it does. Oh, my God. It's got minis in the game. Oh, man. And it's competitive.
I didn't intentionally make this tough, but I'm realizing now it's a pretty tough one.
Is it Cthulhu themed?
It is not.
Yeah, I was going in that Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror, that kind of thing, but it's not that. All right, so not Cthulhu themed. Not a legacy game because it's, I would assume. Steve wants to know if it's space based, space theme based.
Yes.
Marshall says, does it have an IP?
Yes.
Is it based on a TV show?
No.
Oh, it's not. It's not Battlestar Galactica. No. Oh, okay. All right. So
that game.
What's that?
I do love that game.
Yeah. And I was trying to remember, are there dice in BSG, but I just can't remember off the top. I know we're always playing cards.
Yeah. Mostly cards.
Yeah. Do the battles though? Do you do dice? I don't remember now. How do you resolve the battles with the little vipers running around when they're attacking?
I think that might be dice. It's been a long time since I played that, but I think you're right.
All right, competitive game, guys. It's American. It's board-based. Kind of Ameritrash. Came out 5 years or before. It does have minis. Did somebody asked if it's 2 players? You said no, it's not 2 players. It's not a 2-player only game. Right?
Correct.
Yep. It is a space theme. IP-based, yep. Not a TV show. Is it movie based?
It is.
All right. So, and you're a Lord of the Rings fan?
Yeah, I like Lord of the Rings.
enough to play a board game about Lord of the Rings?
Sure, I would, but not this one.
Not this one? Okay, never mind. Yeah. All right. So Kevin wants to know Star Wars game. Star Wars theme?
It is.
Okay. So Rebellion? Not Rebellion. I mean, X-Wing has miniatures. Are you a big X-Wing guy? No.
No.
And Imperial Assault came out in the last 5 years.
Right. It's not Imperial Assault.
All right, guys. It's Star Wars, Lord of the Rings in Space. I don't know that game, but I like it.
I would play that if you.
Let's see. No, I tried that one. Marshall's Imperial Assault and X-Wing. He says they're not those. All right, so Star Wars base. Is it Queen's Gambit? What? Yes! Yes!
Yes, it is.
The Queen's Gambit. You know, I've never played that one, but I've always wanted to play it.
I've got a friend who has two friends who have copies. I don't have my own. And every time I go to the thrift store, which isn't very often anymore, but whenever
always looking.
Got my eye out for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Star Wars Monopoly, give me the points. No, Kevin, it's not Star Wars Monopoly. It's Queen's Gambit. And Marshall's, there's a little bit of delay on the chat crew. So Marshall probably, he probably says, yeah, he got it before us, but nice job. Wow. Queen's Gambit, Bruno Cathala design, right? If I remember right.
It's weird. It's one of those old Hasbro games. So they don't credit the designers on it, but,
so it wasn't Bruno.
Craig Van Ness designed.
The Betrayal at the. No, Craig Van Ness. He worked with Hasbro with Rob Davio. He did development work on Betrayal.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's got his hand on a lot of things, and actually they have he's doing his own thing now with his brother. So keep an eye out for them. Soaring Rhino, they're cool.
Soaring Rhino. There was a game that wasn't it out on Kickstarter, or there's a game that they're talking about putting out that I was looking.
Yeah, Mammoth. And I've played that. That is a very cool game. So keep your eye out for it, definitely.
No.
Oh, I broke out again.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Steve says in chat, Marshall's words came in just as I said it. So we'll give Marshall credit on that one. But yeah, that was a great one. Queen's Gambit, one of the games I want to play. I think it's Queen's Necklace I'm thinking of. That's Bruno Cathala.
You might be right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He has some game with Queen in it. So, all right. BJ from Board Game Gumbo. That is it for another episode of Gumbo Live. I want to thank my guest, Tom Wetzel, for playing the Envie game, for talking about all Cosmos, and also for supporting New Hope Foundation. The Southern Board Game Fest is trying to raise money for the New Hope Foundation. It's a foundation that provides mentoring and tutoring services for disadvantaged youth on the north side of our town. And our convention this weekend is dedicating all of its funds to that foundation. And seriously, Cosmos, you guys hit it out the park. If anybody listening to the show, watching it live, come see us Saturday because we're going to have some play-to-win games from Cosmos that you're going to want to play. In fact, many of the games we talked about tonight, like Drop It and other ones like that.
That's
so
great.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, BJ.
So, Tom, how can people reach you if they have questions about Cosmos or about what's coming out this year?
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Yeah, anyone has any thoughts about games, recommendations, you just want to talk about games, whatever, you can contact me if you email contact@thamesandcosmos.com, and that's all spelled out. So just as a quick clarification, Thames and Cosmos is the U.S. branch of Cosmos Germany. So Thames and Cosmos, if you can't find it, just Google Thames and Cosmos. It should pop up. And the email address is contact@. Yeah.
And you answer all those emails right from that contact information, right?
That's me.
Make sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/BoardGameGumbo. It helps us to get the word out about all of our upcoming guests and shows, including next week. We've got Miklos and Starla from Our Family Plays Board Games from their Facebook page. They're going to be talking about all the games that they've been playing lately and also their work on some of the podcasts. I am BJ from Board Game Gumbo. I want to thank the chat crew for participating tonight. And until next time, Tom, laissez le bon temps rouler.
Thanks, BJ.